Hi everybody, this is Caroline Sutherby and welcome to Up, Down, and Around Town. All right, you've been in this COVID situation for the whole season from March till now, and you thought you were having fun? No, sirree. We're going to go to somebody right now who, oh my God, has probably wished she never knew March, April, May, June, July, until maybe even just recently, and that's our Catherine Kloss, our Superintendent of Schools. Thank you for at least coming now. I'm sure at least, I see you still have your hair, and with all the situations you went through from then on now, graduations and now the fall season, and what do you remember, basically, that you wish you could forget? Or are you accepting the fact that it was a learning process, right?
So I think what is hardest for me is what our graduating seniors missed. It was just heartbreaking to have them miss things like prom or homecoming or honors nights. And that was probably just the biggest disappointment. And watching them be resilient was probably the biggest joy. You know, they took the higher road. They brought us ideas. Graduation is a perfect example.
Yeah.
They wanted it to be different.
They
wanted to be as together as they could be. And so I'm really grateful for all the parents and all the students who worked with the administrators and me to come up with an entirely different plan that in the end probably worked out better than anybody could have surmised. So they were just a resilient bunch. They were happy to move on after that point, and we wished them well. I think the other thing is we thought maybe it was going to be better by the start of school, but it wasn't. So we started school very cautiously. The school board wanted to just kind of dip their toe in the water and see how things could go. And probably the greatest joy I have had was welcoming students back on October 12th and actually seeing students outside of schools and hearing students in classrooms. And to be able to do that safely and to be able to have all that time to plan, we're getting a little slice of normal back in our lives right now.
That's great. At least you're feeling better about the whole year at this point, because it looks promising as long as we can keep that COVID out and not have a repeat of what happened previous to this. When you came, you showed us some pictures, and of course, maybe, is this a good time to show exactly how you had to plan after this whole thing started? But you already have something in the supply room that in case another emergency comes up, you have it, right?
So that was a challenge because we wanted to be ready for whenever students and staff came back. We wanted to be ready. So it included things like face masks, and we have a face mask for every child and every staff member for every day of the school year in case we need it.
Really? Okay.
We have hand sanitizer, wipes. You're looking at boxes of face shields as well in case some of our staff would be more comfortable there. This is cleaning products, and so we can absolutely sanitize each classroom every night. It's non-bleached, or it's a non-bleach product, so it's safe. And our maintenance staff has done a great job of going through every night and making sure every classroom is disinfected and surfaces are ready to go for the next day. These are wipes, and I really have to commend our operations supervisor. Mr. Bernie Bowers, because he even went and found non-alcohol wipes for our littlest hands.
Really?
Because we didn't want to expose them to too much alcohol throughout the day.
Okay.
So we have wipes, we have hand sanitizer, masks, gowns, thermometers, you name it, and we are ready.
Okay, now when they come into school, do they have to get their temperature?
They do that at home.
They do it at home? Okay.
And so if a child looks maybe, with a flushed cheek or something, then we will take a temperature. But so far, knock on wood, things have been going well.
All right. So at least you have the supply, just in case. It must take extra time, though, for every night to disinfect and sanitize, doesn't it? Or is it almost the same amount of hours for a regular cleanup?
We've been, I guess, redeploying some of our staff so that we can cover and make sure all of those doorknobs and all of those surfaces are squeaky clean. For example, now we clean bathrooms every 4 hours to make sure that those are touched upon regularly, and students and staff have a safe environment to come into.
Okay. For some people that might not remember March, you all of a sudden got a degree or decree, so to speak, because you had to shut down. What did you do at that point? I mean, you have many schools. How many schools do we have altogether?
10 campuses.
10. So it wasn't like hop, skip, and jump to Eureka and say, hey, close down. What did you do? You had ample people going around to each, or did you have to do it yourself?
So we found out at 11:30 p.m. on March 12th that our last day of school, at that point, was going to be for 4 weeks, was going to be the following day. And I was in all of those schools just making sure everybody was, doing what they needed to do and getting what they needed to get. I have never seen teachers and parapros and aides and principals work harder to get packets and materials ready for students who are going to go home for 4 weeks. So even think about a kindergarten student getting a bag full of crayons and glue sticks and pencils and paper so that they could be working during the course of the next 4 weeks. I think what was probably one of the biggest challenges professionally for our staff was not knowing they weren't going to see their students again for the rest of the year and not being able to say goodbye. So that's what made October 12th even better, when they could see some of their students and have their classrooms full again.
And of course, we had most of the teachers all come back, right? There were just a couple of them that were ready for retirement, like Kathy Kane. And who else did we lose at that? Well, the principal we lost.
Mr. Kell decided that it was time to retire, so after 33 years, he decided to pass over the reins, and an assistant principal, Ben Reynolds, assumed his role after lots of interviewing. And then this is a great success story. Mr. Hickey came back to join us as an assistant principal, and he had been in that role before and was even principal before, so he brings a wealth of experience. And then Miss Lisa Vitovich is our other assistant principal, and she came from Allen Park.
Okay.
So they have a clean slate.
Okay, and everybody's got their own little area to take care of. How do you think the kids have actually come about after all this delay, different types of virtual learning and so on? They must be back and glad that they are, right?
So having 3 students, they all were excited, and Katie came back, she's in 10th grade, and said, I learned so much better in person than virtually. And so that was, I think, a common theme as I went from school to school. Here was a good story from a kindergarten teacher. She said this is the first year no kindergarten child has ever cried when they left their parent.
Really?
And it's because they were so excited to be back.
Okay. And that's something, though. But I'm sure the parents were going to say, okay. You know, I never had virtual learning. I think like you and I, we were always in class. And then I had talked to a couple of the teachers and I say, how are you actually making out? Because every day they might have to have a regular class, like a lesson, like they normally would have had. But now it's a little delayed, isn't it? Because you don't know how fast those kids are actually absorbing the material at home. It's different when you have it in front where they can ask questions or you can ask them questions. How did that work out? Did they finally get through it, or?
So I think everybody learned a little bit throughout that process.
Okay.
Can I talk a little bit about the schedules our students are working on right now?
Sure.
So I know that there are some examples, and we'll start maybe with elementary. And our elementary students are broken up into two groups. There's a morning group and an afternoon group.
Okay.
So the morning group comes from about 8 to 10:30, and then the afternoon group, the B group, is there from 12:30 to 3. And so the teachers will teach half the students in the morning, half the students in the afternoon. Wednesdays, students are learning at home, so teachers can work together and make plans and bring in small groups in the afternoon.
Okay.
So those are our elementaries. Our middle school and our high school are broken up to the blue group and the gold group.
Okay.
So the blue group all come to school for the whole day on Mondays and Thursdays. The gold group comes to school for the whole day on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then Wednesdays are, again, learning at home or small group learning at school in the afternoon. And last but not least, our center programs, they come every day from 9 to 2, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and again, Wednesday is learning at home for them as well, so their teachers can learn and make plans for the rest of the week. So I think one of the hardest challenges that we had from parents is, why do elementary schools look different than middle schools and high schools and center programs? And the best reason I can give is that we did that because of how young minds learn. For example, they need to see their teacher as much as they can. So seeing them every day, even though if it's for a short period, was the best thing. For older students, they can go every other day or 2 or 3 days and be okay. So we turned to best practice and research about learning patterns for the different age groups.
Where'd you learn that from?
There's an author by the name of John Hattie,
Yeah.
who talked about how students learn best.
Really? So you took his advice and...
Now I know it's hard on parents because they're different, but if we're thinking about putting the student first, that's where the decision ultimately was made.
All right. Now say if a family had 2 or 3 and only had one computer, how could the family actually, regulate that? That'd be kind of rough if the classes were just at a certain hour and maybe there were duplicate kids that had to get into the computer. Was that feasible at all?
So I want viewers at home to know we didn't rehearse this.
No.
But when I was here, probably 2 years ago, I brought something called a Chromebook.
Yeah.
And as of a year ago, every student had a Chromebook they could use at home or in school.
Okay.
And so when we were at home, when the shutdown happened, every student had their own device and could be logging into their Zooms or accessing their accounts.
Okay.
So the timing was perfect as far as they were ready. They were prepared. They knew what to do.
Okay. So that helped out.
It was a great help.
And of course, we should probably give thank yous to the people that backed up that program. And do they still now bring it to school with them, or? Yeah. Okay. So it's still idea now. How does, say, a student normally would he or she would come and say, I need the science thing, and I need this and this and this. What happens if all the classes are not available for them? Well, how are they going to work it out through the year? Or is it something like, let's wait till next year and find out?
So that's another great question. And that's where those Wednesdays help teachers work together so that that doesn't happen.
Really?
So that they can arrange their programming such that it doesn't provide conflicts for students.
All right. So we have to give credit to those teachers that are in cahoots with one another, and I'll get this one, yeah. I mean, is it basically what they're doing? They're working on a mutual agreement between the classes and the subjects and the kids?
And it's even more important because we don't want students to get too much homework. We don't want them to get too frustrated. We want them to still have that joy of learning, and we're trying to find that balance.
So what do you see for the rest of the year now?
I wish I had brought, our HR director gave me this tiny crystal ball. And it's battery operated, and you wave your hand over it and it will answer a question.
It works?
I'm not so sure I could say it's 100% accurate. But what I do know is that right now we can bring in about a half of our student population at a time. Mm-hmm. They can be socially distant. The kids have been great about masks, absolutely great about masks.
Okay.
And with those two things, knock on wood, for 4 weeks, we haven't had any transmission during the school day.
That's great.
So a student hasn't brought it and given it to another student. And so we think that's because we can socially distance and mask, and then we can keep them in school.
Okay. Of course, with the football season, there was a little drawback, but they're in the process now. They had the homecoming, which, hey, not for sure at the beginning of, August, September. And Wyandotte's in their finals. They're going to play Detroit Renaissance this Friday, if somebody wants to know. Don't know exactly how good they are, but you got to be prepared. And then, of course, the band has been able to do their thing. What's happening with the music, like with Kathy Kane group? Is somebody else taking her position now?
That was another retirement. And so we have hired a Roosevelt graduate, Gerald Heimner,
Okay.
who has taken over the program. And believe me, Mrs. Kane is in the background helping when there are questions. But he's done a phenomenal job. We're not quite sure what the concerts are going to look like, especially around the holiday time.
Yeah.
Mr. D'Angelo and Gerald are working on perhaps a virtual, being able to record something and then play it so that families can sit at home and enjoy some festive music still.
Okay. And Barb had asked the question, what about our florist department?
So Teddy's is open.
Yeah, okay.
And so they will have plants and wreaths for the holidays.
Okay.
They also are doing the telefloral deliveries. So if you have an occasion like a birthday or an anniversary, you can contact them. We have students coming in small groups, and they actually do the arrangements and can deliver. Isn't that slick?
Yeah. I mean, that was something, what, is this her third year now or fourth?
I think it's third.
Third year. That was interesting when we did have her to find out, you mean to tell me you're actually doing this at the school and you have a telephone number and all that? So I know every so often I used to see something on the marquee through the summertime, but I didn't know how busy they actually were. So, but now they're in full swing.
Full swing.
Okay.
Oh, can we also talk about meals?
Yes.
Meals on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
Our food service department has made meals available, and it's 14 meals, 7 breakfasts, 7 lunches, and families can come through Roosevelt High School, no questions asked, no IDs, no anything is needed. And It's from 11 to 1 every Wednesday, and we want all families to take advantage of that. There's no stigma. We just want people to be able to have that as a resource during these hard times.
Okay. And we're busy with that the whole season from March till, well, you said right now.
It continues, right?
Do you still have that gentleman from Lincoln Park that's in charge of it?
Mark Rodriguez.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a chance to at least get a...
Oh, we did that show, didn't we, in the parking lot? That was great.
That's why I said we were on the road, so to speak, and even though we're back here, there are still sometimes we go out with the camera and bring it back because there's an awful lot going on there, you know. We enjoyed especially the farmers market that just finished this past season.
Last week, right?
Yeah. And that was an ideal location. You had this the city parking lot there as well as the Yak Arena, so you had ample parking for everybody. And it was almost like, gee, is it quitting already? You know? But hey, it's getting cold and these people are making an effort to come long distances. So, yeah. So see what they can learn at school as well as what we can learn on the outside just by going around. And, God. Okay, so you said the holidays are coming. They're in the process of maybe getting some programs.
The fall play is going to be done virtually.
Is it?
As well. So Sam,
how's that going to be done?
Sam Ramirez is going to bring in small groups of students, and they're going to videotape the performances and then have a showing.
Really?
So, and again, this just is a testament of, you know, when I drive by the marquee on 3rd, you know, it says, you know, about like Wyandotte strong and strong together. And this is just a perfect example of people problem solving and still providing all those same wonderful opportunities for students, but in a new creative way.
Creative is true, because if we didn't have that, I think we would have been down all the way. And it's proven it with the management, your department, the commission, the teachers, the coaches, the kids. It took an effort.
The band.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
And even the cheerleaders were able to come out there, too.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Well,
so
at least
we're learning to live with it as best we can. And it's not like it used to be in the good old days, but we're learning to live with it, and hopefully we're going to be able to end school in a magnanimous way.
Hey, it's just like the businesses. A lot of them had to get creative, especially the restaurants. They were able to start with takeout. Then, of course, they were able to at least get some of their place available. And I get the biggest kick out of Nana's. I mean, he even put the plastic dividers in there, which made it, I mean, you feel like you're in your own little cubbyhole, and he got an award. So that's something that we learned along the way, too. There have been businesses that have failed, though, because of it. I mean, they had no way of getting the people through the door and putting money in the coffers. So that's another learning process for them eventually, if they want to survive, and you know, for another half a year possibly. So are you glad you got to this point now? You're not completely probably satisfied with, it's going okay, but not the way you want, right?
Every week we get better.
Okay.
Better and better, and it's wonderful being able to have students in the hallways again. We just cherish the time we have with them and hope it can continue.
Okay. So for somebody that may think, well, gee, should I send my kids to Roosevelt? Because a lot of people don't realize they have a school of choice. Are you still taking people in, or is it up to capacity right now?
So at this point, we're not able to have any new students join us.
Okay.
Maybe in January, but most likely it would be them registering in the summer for next year again.
Okay. So at least, though, you're comfortable with who you have right now. You got ample for the budget, so to speak. And of course, you're probably going to get a cut down in the budget, right? Does the state have notified you at all? Like, are you going to get X number of dollars for, say, January or whatever, or you're just abiding your time and waiting for them to give the notice?
So what is something, and again, I think about the strength of the community, and something that happened that we didn't anticipate was that the purchasing rebounded faster than we thought it was going to. So our state aid actually is the same as it was last year, and we even have grants for some of the PPE. So financially, we're in a really good place. We negotiate with some of our unions later this year, and we're hoping that we can give back for all the help they gave us getting through the end of last year.
Okay. Well, that's one good thing, at least.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, because at the beginning, not
It
everybody
was
knew
doom
it
and
was going to
gloom.
be.
It was awful.
Yeah. So at least, and for some people that realize, well, this is election week, and you have new people coming in into that little group. Some of them have been there for a long time, and yet you have some new ones that are coming in with fresh blood. So we'll have to find out who actually gets the seat, so to speak, and work from there too. Do you enjoy working with them? It's probably different people, different opinions, different decisions along the way. Are you comfortable, though, with your position there? And I'm sure they must be, otherwise you wouldn't be there, right?
So what makes a school board strong is that you have 7 members of the community who come at it with different experiences and different talents, and all of them bring ideas, and so they wrestle with them because all 7 have to agree.
Yeah.
And so through all that good dialogue, that good discussion, they really put students first and make decisions that are in their best interest. So I'm blessed.
Yeah, you are. And we have to thank them, too, for going through this whole process. It was time-consuming. It was decision-making in more ways than one. At least we've gone through that. You're situated now with some of the kids at least learning. And like you said, it was a good thing they had their own little machines, right?
Chromebooks, yep.
So have a nice holiday. Hopefully we'll see you maybe at the beginning of the year again if you got some.
Maybe I'll find you in a parking lot and we'll do another show.
You like that, don't you?
I do.
Okay, Rich, we got her for another one. Thanks, Dr. Koss, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Up, Down, and Around Town. Bye now.